I'm Marissa Kobe with Amazing Profit Media, and we're here in Ireland with the co-founders of Cool Beans, Sarah O'Connor and Isolde Johnson, and they're going to teach us a little bit about their business. So to get started, can you guys tell us what we're making here today?
So we're going to make up a fresh batch of Cool Beans. So it's fresh tomato, onion, garlic, and then we got our cannellini beans mixed in there. We're going to have it on a bit of toast then afterwards, have a bit of lunch afterwards, and then Sarah's going to make up something.
I'm going to do a chicken chorizo stew with our smoky beans. So we have 3 flavors. We have our original tomato, we have our smoky paprika, and then we have our award-winning hot chili flavor, and that's hot.
Oh, even hot for us people from Texas?
Yeah, oh, well, maybe actually, yeah. You might be able to handle it, handle the heat. But it's our best-selling product, actually, the chili one. And they're all gluten-free and dairy-free. So the thing about our product is it's really clean, fresh ingredients. There's no additives, no preservatives. It's gluten-free, dairy-free, and there's no refined sugar. So we use a little bit of honey, and we're suitable for diabetics. So I suppose that's back to the whole ethos of the product and why we started it.
And that's what's really important to us. So we're not willing to compromise in any way on the quality of the product or the quality of the ingredients. Yeah. And so it makes the product that little bit more expensive, but it's something that is really important to us. And it was, like Sarah was saying, it was one of the reasons why we set up the business initially, because we were both working really long hours and putting in the hard days, the hard yards, and you get home from work, you're tired, you don't want to cook. And there was nothing healthy available in the supermarket shelves. So you end up having cereal for dinner or soup or something or a takeaway or something, and it's not healthy, and then you're wondering why you're tired and work the next day or why
your body's not performing.
Yeah, and why you're getting sick more often, and it's because you're not putting the right fuel in there to get that performance. So, and the more we kind of talked about it together, the more we were talking about it with other friends, and so many of our friends had that same problem. And so we then kind of started looking at what were the options available for us and what could we do, and we kind of came across beans because we were seeing these being done in restaurants and
brunch
cafes,
places, and really nice fancy homemade baked beans, and yet you couldn't buy it as a retail product. So all you could get was tinned product that was full of sugar and salt, highly processed, had been sitting on the shelf for months. So then we created a fresh product in that category, which sits in the chill section. So when you go into your supermarket, you find it next to chilled soups, milk, yogurts, because everything's fresh. So we cook it to over 90 degrees and then we blast chill it. And then that's why there's no additives or preservatives, because it's the fridge is what's helping keep it fresh then.
So when you guys got started, were you both chefs originally, or how did you get into this business together?
So we're not trained chefs, but we would have cooked a lot.
So we love food.
And even growing up, my mom got sick of cooking herself, so we were always made cook a family meal once a week as kids or as teenagers. So I got into cooking from a young age, and Sarah would have been similar. And we loved to cook, but weren't having the time to cook and not being able to do it. So when we started our careers, it was just that kind of went on the back burner. And we were looking for kind of convenient food.
And it's funny because actually we made this product originally for ourselves, and entrepreneurs talk about, I saw a gap in the market, I saw, a product that I wanted that I couldn't get. That was us, But then the more we did it, the more we realized actually this is a problem loads of people have. So young parents who are first-time parents, working really hard, both working outside the home and in the home, and then wanting healthy snacks for the kids. So actually we have a really fast-growing family market where we're parents are using it for the kids as an after-school snack. They're adding it to their meals as a side portion.
We were both working full-time as well at this stage, so we had the idea and we kind of were we're onto something, so let's see what we can do with it and let's see what we can make out of it. So we started developing up our recipes. So we kind of came up with the 3 flavors, the tomato, smoky and hot chili, and we decided that we needed to test it, so to see if people actually would buy it. So we invested all of our savings and all of our money at the time into this
everything we had
mobile catering unit. So it was called the Bean Machine.
It was tiny.
Cool. I like that.
It literally was the size of this counter. If not smaller.
It probably the counter size was smaller than this.
Yeah. And it literally fit the 2 of us and nothing else. And so we went around to music festivals because we were that's our target market. So some of the biggest
Burning
Irish,
Man or equivalent.
Those are big in Austin.
Ireland,
You've been great there.
And we started selling the product and getting people's feedback, and they were telling us what they thought of the product, what they thought of the flavors. they were telling, like, so we got a lot of feedback from that. At the time we had sugar in it, and we were getting this reaction from them and insights from them saying they didn't want products with sugar in it. So we had to use a bit of brown sugar. Yeah, they wanted things that was gluten free. So like we were taking all this feedback and like bringing it away and tweaking the product all the time and like bringing it back to them and getting their feedback on that. And we were both working full time at this stage as well. And I just remember this one time driving back. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God, yeah.
It was a Sunday night or like Monday morning, and we were driving back from, I was driving back for a festival. You were still there, I think, because you were staying until the Monday morning. But I had this big, massive presentation to do in work at 8 a.m. the next morning, and I hadn't done anything for it.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like driving back deliriously tired, and I was like, at that stage I was like, I couldn't have been happier. Like it was just like one of the most amazing feelings, because I was like, this is so great, and we'd had such a great weekend, and our sales were really good, and it's like it was just one of those moments I was like, I think we're definitely onto something, and
it's time to quit my job.
And it's time to quit my job.
So did you guys do that together then? Did you agree at a certain point, like, this is what we're going to do, this is going to be the company that we're going to move forward with?
So it's funny, actually, we've been talking a lot lately about being co-founders, and it's one thing that, you know, if you can find a co-founder and it works, because lots of relationships don't work, but if you can find one that works, it's the best thing, and like we really recommend it, because you have like someone to support you and help you. But also, you know, when it comes to that stage of quitting your job, we were able to sit down and talk. It was like a marriage.
It was like a marriage, and we were having a baby.
So what's it like working with a co-founder and having someone to bounce ideas off of?
But I would advise anyone to get a co-founder and to do it with someone else, because it's such a hard journey, and like you come up against so many different challenges and so many things that can go wrong, and it's so easy at times to just pack it all in and quit. But if you have someone else there that, like, when you're feeling really low about something, or when you're feeling really challenged by something, to be able to have someone who's like, no, come on, like, this is what we can do. And like sometimes it's difficult to be constantly solution focused and constantly looking at like obstacles in terms of how we can get over them. You can just see them as like a big massive obstacle, and just having someone that you can bounce problems off.
So is that how you have been funding this business so far? Are you still working at your other job in addition to this?
So actually my other job was amazing, because I worked with the EY Entrepreneur of the Year program, and it's actually a really massive program in the States. It started in the States over 25 years ago, and it's an awards program for entrepreneurs. So I managed the program in Ireland. So, and that's originally where we met. So Isolde was interning, and it was my first job out of college. So we were meeting loads of entrepreneurs and learning from them and being inspired by them, but also seeing, you know, how hard it was as well. So I think that's another reason why we became co-founders, is because we knew it was going to be really tough, you know. But I was working there, and I went part-time before I completely quit my job. So they were, you know, knew I was doing the business. They were really supportive. They really kind of put their money where their mouth was in terms of supporting entrepreneurship, like letting me go part-time. And then But
it was tough, I think. Like,
it was really hard. I did it for we both kind of acknowledged that I probably worked for too long, but it's just really hard when, you know, the business is growing, but it's like, when is that point where you leave before the money has caught up, or your sales have caught up, your profitability has caught up? So it was a tough decision to make, but I went part-time, and then I went full-time into Cool Beans about 4 months ago.
We used to do it all in our kitchen. We actually don't anymore, but this is how we started, and when we're testing new recipes and testing new products, we do it all in our kitchen. So it's nice. Like, we always enjoy being back here to like
cooking,
do that sort of stuff. So that's where we started. And like when we started out, obviously we'd be cooking in like the morning or the evening, and you'd go to work during the day, and then you go to the festival at the weekend. So like it was crazy, but it was great fun.
We were talking the other day about an opportunity. We had a massive opportunity at the beginning to send product down to a big customer, and that customer is now our largest customer and has been for the last kind of 18 months. And we cooked until like 4 o'clock in the morning, making beans and like filling containers and like putting ribbons around the containers and stickers, and like it was
like the early days bean making. I mean, put them in these like little glass jars, like which is like totally impractical, because glass is like really breakable. And
it was like a showcase.
It's just so funny though, because like that's kind of where we started, and like we were down with them recently. Our customers like, it's amazing to see how far you guys have come, and like
So how do you guys do your fulfillment? Who makes all this food, and what's your packaging and all that stuff like now?
So like we kind of decided early on, well, we had been making ourselves, but for the retail product, we kind of decided early on that we wanted to adopt an outsourcing model. Yeah. So we kind of drove around the length and breadth of the country and like
looking for partners
and looking for someone that we really trusted to make this product, because it's so important to have someone that you trust and someone that believes in what you're doing as well. And we drove the length and breadth of the country. We met about 10 different companies, and either the quality of the product wasn't there or the relationship wasn't there, but like we ended up settling on the partner that we have now, and they've been working with us for the last year and a half, about 18 months, and they've been amazing, and we spend a lot of time with them. Like we're with them every second week at least.
Yeah. And they cook all the food.
So they make it all, and like we went through a really long process to get it to where it is with them as well. So like, because when you go from making a product in the kitchen, it doesn't just automatically scale up the more you put in. So like we had to go through a development process which took about 3 months, I'd say, with them, and like testing every batch and making sure we were happy with it, because
we ate a lot of beans that time. A lot.
Do you ever get sick of eating all the beans?
I still eat beans like 3 or 4 times a week at least. Eat our beans, you know.
Do you guys have plans then to add more recipes or to branch out into non-vegetarian options, or do you want to stick with that?
Yeah, well, like we're constantly looking at new products and bringing in meat. And I suppose at the moment we just have the 3 flavors, and we're looking at different kind of flavor profiles within the same range. But then we're also looking at like an ambient range. So at the moment it's chilled, so it lives in the fridge. So we're looking at taking kind of step back from that and having like a snack range. So that people kind of eat on the go, but again around the whole like healthy convenience as well. So we have an idea for the snack range, and we have ideas for like a kids range as well, because people are becoming more and more conscious that the traditional tin baked beans are just not healthy, and they're full of sugar, and they're just not really good for you. They have this modified corn flour in them as well. So anyway, don't get us started on other roast beans.
I think it's really applicable. A lot of our students have multiple products. How do you know when it's time to create a new variation on your product or to continue with the ones you have?
Talk to your customers. I mean, that's the number one thing. So we are in store every single week. So still, even now, we're in every week doing samplings in supermarkets. So we used to do them like 3 or 4 days a week on top of all the office work, and then we had to scale back. We hired people to do it, and we trained them, but we had to scale back because we had to spend more time in the business, you know. But we still do at least 1 tasting a week, because it keeps us out meeting people, talking about products. And I just came back from the UK, which is our new export market, and you know, the customer there, I was telling Izalda today, wants different things from the product, and we're working on this big potato and beans product, which is a full meal solution. And I think in the UK actually it could be a massive product, and it's really going to hit a market segment, but you don't know that until you're on the ground, like in the trenches, meeting people, you know. And for any entrepreneur, like that's where they have to be. You can't get stuck in a boardroom, you know. You have to be out there seeing the product in action and talking to people.
And when you do that, then like you get ideas from the customer about what they want and what they're looking for, and like ultimately solving their problems. And so that's why, like, I think you need to get your core range up and running, and like almost like that it's kind of managing itself, and sales have to be good for that particular product. But at a certain stage you need to keep engaging your consumer as well, and you need to keep them interested. And if you just focus on one product, then they'll lose interest very quickly, or some other product will come out and they'll kind of switch to there. So like you have to keep on challenging yourself on how you can keep them engaged.
So what is your guys' roles then currently? If you're moving away from the cooking and you're moving away towards customer interaction daily, what are your guys' roles in the company?
You know, I think with any growing business at the beginning, it's really hard to set those boundaries, because you have to do a bit of everything depending on what day it is and which fire needs to be put out. But we actually sat down and did a 2-day away day, strategy day. We locked ourselves in a room and phones off and just laptops out, just working on who's going to do what, and like we had informally
what our goals are as well, because it's so important to have like your goals written down and have everyone on the same page, so we're all working towards a common good and a common goal. So we kind of did all that sort of stuff, and that was a really interesting process as well, because obviously there's certain things you love doing, there's certain things you less love doing. I won't say dislike doing, but so we had to be kind of fair to each other as well. So Sarah gladly for me, I'm not sure for her, took on the finance stuff because I just hate anything to do with finance, invoicing. I'm allergic to it.
Yeah, I'm not too great with numbers either.
And you have to be, because you have to, you know,
you have to be so close
you have to mind your cash flow and everything. So for me, I had a little bit more experience in that area from my previous role, so it made sense. And you know, it's not my favorite thing to do, invoicing and cash flow, but you just have to, and you know, you can't be complacent about it. So I look after that area, and then I also look after our digital and our kind of social media platforms. And then we split sales. So I look after our UK market and our export markets, and then Isolde manages our home market. And it's really good because it means that like I'm reporting on the UK and Isolde's reporting on the Irish market, and we'll sit down and go through like how everything is going,
and what we need to be doing to improve sales. And it's funny because they're quite similar in many ways, but they're also really different as well. So like there's certain things that work in both markets, there's certain things that only work in the UK or only work in Ireland, and the UK is a difficult market as well because it's very new for us. And when we started in Ireland, we had so many contacts and Ireland is a small place, so it's just a little bit easier to kind of get up and running here, whereas the UK is so vast, and so like it's just taken a bit more work and a bit more time and a bit more love to get back to where it is now.
Yeah. How do you break into a new market that you don't have contacts in?
Sheer determination. So like we kind of identified, we broke down who we wanted to retail the product over there, and we had just cold called them, sent them emails, just followed up with them relentlessly for about 3 months. And we actually I sent an email to like the main buyer for our category, and got an email back. Didn't get an email back from him, and I sent him another email the next week, nothing back, sent him another email, and then I finally got an out of office from him. I was like, in my absence, contact, and he gave me 3 new email addresses. So I like sent all of them emails, and from one of them I got another out of office. So it was literally just like, they must have been having conversations in their office being like, who are these crazy bean girls that are like stalking alone? But like that was it. And eventually about 2 months later or 3 months later, they came back and they were like, yeah, we'd be willing to meet you. And then we went over, and then we were really able to like sell the whole story to them. And like we would say that, not that we're naive, but kind of naive, you know, just in terms of we just don't see those barriers and we just go for it, and we just don't have a fear of failing, I suppose, in that way.
I think that's every entrepreneur, because you wouldn't do it otherwise. The risks are so huge that you will fail and lose your reputation, your money, you know, everything, that you have to have like this blind faith / naivety, or you would never do it, you know.
Do you guys offer recipes and suggestions for people on your website?
Yeah, so we have a whole section on our website, and then we also put them on our social media, like our Facebook and our Instagram, every week as well, so people can see new ways of using the product. And people like are really nice. They like email us in pictures and recipes they've made, and then I met a guy in the supermarket the other day, and he makes this like smoky sausage bean thing every week, and his kids were there, and they were like so excited. They were like, "Oh, it's smoky bean day," and I was like, "Oh my god,
that's so adorable."
That is so cute.
Yeah.
So would you say then that social media or customer loyalty are some major strategies that Cool Beans uses to continue to grow?
Yeah, so like for a consumer facing product and as a startup, you don't have like big marketing spend. So you have to come up with other ways of reaching your customer that are more cost effective. So we've used social media to great effect, because we didn't have a lot of money. We still don't have a lot of money to spend on that stuff, to waste, you know. You can't waste a penny or a cent, you know. So we've used Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and we're just starting Snapchat actually. And that's the thing, is when you have so many of these channels, it's managing them. And we were talking to some new food entrepreneurs the other day, and we were saying, you know, the worst thing you can do is have lots of channels with no activity. So pick one, get activity going, and then
do it really well.
So do you guys have like a Cool Beans cookbook? Is that something that's on the horizon potentially?
We would love to do something like that. I mean, at the moment there's so much going on, and like you kind of have to be focused as well, in terms of like, we're really focused on driving sales. And all of our efforts and time and energy is going into that.
Yeah.
But like definitely down the line, that would be part of our plan.
That'd be fun actually, to do like a whole range of like healthy, convenient recipes that are all done within like 7 minutes or something like that. I think it would be something like that. It would be like,
really
you
quick.
know, how to eat healthily really quickly.
Yeah.
How do you determine, you've got all these great ideas going around, what are your guys' strategies for determining what's the most important step for your next business?
So we have like an Excel or a Google Doc, I suppose, where we like input all of our ideas, and like our team kind of would feed into that as well. And like if anyone has any ideas, it all gets put into that. And then at our monthly kind of management meetings, we go through those lists and we see what ones it's kind of red, amber, green. So like we see what ones we want to kind of progress to the next stage, which would involve doing a lot of like consumer research around it and market research around it, and seeing what the competitors are like in that area, and what the potential is for growth, just checking out like the size of the market, and then from there you like develop it into the product development side of it. So like you kind of have to like test the market, see if there actually is a market there for this type of product before you kind of waste resources in the product development side of it. And then from there, then it kind of gets brought on to the next stage. And then once you have a product, you start to look at your packaging, which is really important for us. And like our brand and our packaging has been kind of one of the key elements of our business to this point. And going forward, it will be really important as well to make sure that everything that we do is very much on brand, and that it's part of like the Cool Beans range or the Cool Beans brand. And it's something that we've kind of been developing from the start, from our festival days. And like you'll see from our packaging as well that like we have all these like quirky things on it.
Yeah, it's very vibrant.
Yeah, so like this was like a custom illustration that our friend did for us. So like when we were developing our packaging, we had so many people that had been helping us from the start. And so we gave them all like her names, and she did little cartoons of them, and like
so they're all included.
Included in there, and there's like little people. So like
it's our heart and soul. It's literally like
that's so cool.
And we spend a lot of time on the branding at the beginning, and I think that's something when you were asking about time management as well there, like how do you prioritize things? We were just talking about it today on the way over here, that we actually need to, like, because we don't have all the answers, we're a startup company, about how we're allocating our time. So we were looking at tools we can use so that we can look at our week and say, okay, we've spent 10% of time on new product development, because you don't want to look back on a week and see that you've done nothing about new product line, and how much have you spent on sales, or how much have you spent on admin, because some weeks you feel like all I've done this week is like admin to keep like money coming in, when actually what am I doing about sales pipeline
and growth, and definitely.
So that's something like I think everyone is probably struggling with, but we're definitely trying to monitor it a bit more now and discipline ourselves, and that the team have more discipline around it, so we can look back as a team as well and say, okay, this week we spent loads of time on sales, great, but now next week we need to spend a bit more time on administration or new product development or customer experience, so it's something that we're definitely learning and improving, and if anyone has any tips, get in touch.
It's just one of those things, I think, that you get better like the more you do it, and again it's like getting into the habit of doing it. So like we try to have our like monthly meetings and our weekly team meetings then as well, so like it's just making sure you're constantly looking back and reflecting on what you're doing and whether it's working or not working, and then planning for the future and setting goals for each other, because like Sarah said, you can get to the end of the week, like I can't believe it's March. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what happened to January and February. And like you don't want that to happen to a year. So like we've been really working this year on just like kind of trying to identify what we are doing and how we can do that better and how we can do that more efficiently.
It's been really fast. We're still a small company, but we're growing rapidly. So we launched 18 months ago in retail in 5 stores. And then we grew rapidly to 35 and then 223, and to be nationwide in Ireland, and then exporting to the UK. So 18 months later, we're now in 365 stores across Ireland and the UK, an exporting food company, and
and a growing team as well. So like it started off with just me full-time and Sarah part-time. Now there's 3 of us full-time. We're taking on a further 3 people next week. So it's expanding rapidly, and like we're just so excited about where it's going and the possibility and the opportunities for us.
That's amazing.
So we're working 7 days a week at the moment.
Full-time jobs.
So do you guys want to have a little taste of it then?
Yeah.
You want to eat something?
Definitely try. We'll
get a bit hungry when
see how good I was at stirring.
Might be a little bit off.
Which is really, really good. Great. Good. Let's go ahead and eat this.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, perfect.